Climate scientists and communications experts may seem an unusual choice for a discussion about the federal budget and dark money in politics, but Senator Sheldon Whitehouse sees a clear connection. During a Senate Budget Committee hearing earlier today, a panel laid out how corporate dark money groups propagate misinformation about clean energy, climate science, and climate scientists to roadblock meaningful and critical climate action. A disinformation campaign that they warn has exposed the United States to systemic economic risks. Joining me now is Rhode Island Senator and Chairman of the Budget Committee, Sheldon Whitehouse. I'm thinking of a lot of the commercials I see that don't seem to have any sponsorship on television, but when you look a little bit more closely at them, they're funded by dark money groups.
Yeah, when an American looks at his or her TV and sees an advertisement, and at the end it says, this advertisement was brought to you by Americans for Peace and Puppies and Prosperity, and there is no such visible thing, or if you can find it, it's a mail drop at a shipping place somewhere, then that's a pretty bad sign that things have gone a little bit haywire in our democracy.
So tell me what you were trying to do today with this committee hearing, especially regarding the budget.
So we've laid out a very strong predicate in previous budget committee hearings that the climate risks we face are very grave economic risks and hence very grave budget risks. And in this, we moved on from that predicate to show that one of the reasons we're facing those risks is because of the fossil fuel industry's propaganda operation that has interfered with the ability of Congress to have solved this problem years and years and years ago, even going back to the original 1988 bill, I think, by Republican Senator Chafee and Republican Congresswoman Schneider. So it's been a long campaign to obstruct, and it's been effective, and that's why we're in the pickle we're in now.
So much of what we are dealing with financially right now has to do with the effects of climate change. And whenever we have a major disaster and the trillions of dollars that get allocated for that disaster obviously affects the budget. It happens in all seasons now. Is that a way to get Republican colleagues on board with trying to fight climate change, to say, hey, listen, this will cost us a whole lot less money if we get out ahead of it instead of react to it?
That's what we're trying to do. That's the case we're trying to make. If you look at why we have this deficit, one of the major components to it is these unpredicted and unaddressed shocks to the system, like the 2008 mortgage meltdown and like COVID. The next ones are likely to be climate related. We have the chance to predict them. In fact, they've been predicted for decades, and we have the chance to do something about them. We know how to do it. But we have political interference that is driven by fossil fuel dark money, so we have to penetrate through that. And the difficulty for Republicans is that they receive enormous amounts of fossil fuel dark money, so it's a little bit awkward for them.
So how do you get to the root of getting rid of dark money? I mean, I keep going back to a conversation I had with Lindsey Graham a couple years ago in the hallways on the Capitol, and he said, you know, when I am chairman of the Judiciary Committee, we're going to go after dark money, and he didn't end up doing that. But it seemed like when I talked to Republicans that there was a real desire to get rid of it because they don't like it either. So what can be done, and why hasn't anything been done yet?
Well, what can be done is to pass the Disclose Act, which would require that contributions to a campaign above $10,000 or expenditures supporting a campaign above $10,000 have to be disclosed back to the original real donor, not through screening front groups and shell corporations. Getting there is a little bit difficult because while every Democrat will vote for that bill and has voted for that bill, no Republican has been willing to vote for it. And I believe that's because Republican leadership is heavily, heavily, heavily dependent on dark money to run what they call their outside spending operation, which is basically their political artillery against Democratic candidates.
Another version of dark money, you could argue, is what's going on with the Supreme Court and the allegations that Supreme Court justices are taking all sorts of lavish gifts without disclosing them from people who have business in front of the court. We got new reporting from ProPublica today about Justice Alito, stuff that he pre-butted in the Wall Street Journal. I know you want to do something about this. Is it going to be successful?
Yeah, you're absolutely right about the dark money piece. Millions in dark money went into the Federalist Society while the list of Supreme Court nominees was being created. Millions of dollars of dark money went into the Judicial Crisis Network to run ads for the nominees who the Federalist Society list put forward. And millions of dollars in dark money goes into front groups that come into the court and file briefs as friends of the court, but don't tell the court or the other parties who they really are. And of course, behind all of that is this ethics crisis of all these unbelievable expensive gifts of travel and other things to Federalist Society justices from right-wing activist billionaires. And that needs to be cleaned up as an ethics matter entirely apart from the dark money problem.
It does need to be cleaned up. The trust in the Supreme Court is at an all-time polling low. Is there a way to restore that trust? Is just getting the Supreme Court to agree on a certain set of public ethics standards and then abide by them enough here?
Yeah, there are three things that can be done here, and all could actually work together. One, Chief Justice Roberts could take this seriously and
do you think he's
put
not?
Together a proper ethics. No, he's not at all. Or if he's taking it seriously, it hasn't turned into any action yet. He hasn't operationalized taking it seriously. Second, you've got the Judicial Conference, which is the administrative body that runs the court, made up of mostly other federal judges. Only the Chief Justice sits on it and chairs it. And these other judges are quite fed up with the court's behavior, and they're in a position to upgrade the ethics and the accountability of the court. And finally, we in Congress have bills, and Chairman Durbin announced a hearing on my bill for after the 4th of July recess.